apparently there's a new debate that Ron Paul has been uninvited, disinvited, or not invited to. Which one is it, Don? Is it all of the above? Basically, the Republicans are all getting together to discuss Israel, and the Republican Jewish Coalition has decided not to invite Ron Paul to its December 7th forum. All the other Republican candidates are expected to attend because they reject Ron Paul's misguided and extreme views, end quote. When you look at what Congressman Paul has said about Israel, and, here's another thing. If you go into this territory, you're immediately branded an anti-Semite if you're not all for sending $4 billion a year over to Israel. Now, if you remember, Ron Paul was saying we got to pull back all foreign aid to zero, reassess where our money goes, figure out who's with us and who's against us. And he gets branded as an anti-Semite, but when Rick Perry says it, he gets a standing ovation. So I guess one man's anti-Semite is another man's good foreign policy. But why shouldn't how much money we send to Israel be on the table? Every year, we just send $4 billion to Israel. It was 3, now it's 4. What's it going to be, 5? But why do we send it? Do they need it? Do they? You think they could get along without us? Oh, that's so anti-Semitic, Jerry. You hate the Jews. No. I'm just thinking, if everything's going to be on the table, we're talking everything's going to be on the table, even with regard to spending, military on the table, entitlements should be on the table, food stamp programs should be on the table, unemployment benefits should be on the table. If everything's going to be on the table, then foreign policy has to be on the table. And if everything's on the table, that has to include the money that we send to Israel. Now, I want you to listen to these anti-Semitic words with regard to our policy with Israel. Because when you listen to this, you'd have to go, wow, this guy hates the Jews. And the Republican Jewish Coalition is barring Ron Paul from this debate because he's misguided and he's extreme. So would the words, we don't need to do nation building in Israel, be anti-Semitic? They're already built. Was that be anti-Semitic? That we don't need to export democracy to Israel because they've already got it? Would that be anti-Semitic? That we don't need to send American troops to defend Israel because they can defend themselves? Would that be anti-Semitic? Well, it's going to be an interesting answer for you because those are the words of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in May of this year in a speech that he gave to the United States Congress. Those are his words, which kind of happen to be the words of Ron Paul. And again, I listen to these blowhards in Republican talk radio talking about, no one's perfect out there. Oh, you have to take I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for consistency. Not shapeshifters like the turd Newt Gingrich. I'm looking for people who are consistent. And if you're looking for consistency, you have to look consistently at people who have been dissed by the Republican Party, not just the Republican Jewish Coalition part of the Republican Party, the Republican Party itself, who just wants to make the consistent Ron Paul go away. Now, can you imagine if the Republican Party decided that they were going to be about principles and then let the person define themselves, as opposed to defining the person and then being able to adjust the principles to accommodate the person, which is exactly what the Republican Party has been about for way too long. They're going to create a hero, a star. They're going to pick a nominee. They're going to determine the candidate. They're going to tell you this is the guy, this is the gal. But what about, and then what they have to do is they have to compromise on principle because they want to accommodate the person. Now, it just so happens that the consistency of the principles of Ron Paul happen to be meeting up at this point in time where what he's been warning about for years and years and years has become our reality.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
And the consistency of his principles are something that we can judge him on then, now, and have a reasonably good idea of what they'll be going forward. But when someone today is not who they were yesterday or the day before or won't be that same person tomorrow, you can't really get a good handle on what anyone in the GOP is going to be going forward.